Hello, Dr. Lipton.
Good morning, Lilo.
It's good to be with you. It's good to have you on Skype right now. How exciting is that?
Well, for me, it's exciting. You're so beautiful. It makes my day happy. So there you go.
Thank you. And for me, it makes my day. I know a lot of people that are going to watch this because I really believe that the information that you're bringing brings a lot of solidity and a lot of proof to the evolution and the shift of consciousness that is happening. I want to remind everybody, you're a best-selling author and you travel the world and do many conferences. You're a cell biologist, is that right?
Yes, not practicing at this very moment, but yes, I used to. I started my career cloning stem cells about 1967 is when I started. So I was about 45 years ago cloning these stem cells that people are just beginning to talk about in the last few years. It was such profound research that I had tenure at the university, and the results of the research caused me to resign my tenure position and walk out, because I knew from the research that what I was teaching medical doctors about how cells work was completely wrong. And so I felt out of integrity. I said, I can't teach this anymore, so I left.
Wow. And that was your quantum leap. I mean, that's what many people are doing right now, stepping in this, what they really believe is the truth and is authentic and aligned with their purpose.
Yes, absolutely. And this is why this is such an exciting time, because we are in an evolution. But what's interesting is because when we talk about evolution, normally we talk about one organism changing its biology and turning into something else. And it's sort of like, this is an evolution not in our physical biology. This is an evolution in our consciousness. And it's basically, it's not the evolution of us as individual humans. We already did that. We are already here. It's the evolution that we recognize each human being is the equivalent of a cell in the body of a superorganism called humanity. So as much as I look at my body in the mirror and I say, oh, there's one human looking back, Bruce Lipton, one organism, and I go, that's a misperception, because if you could see with a microscope, you're made out of 50 trillion cells. It's the cells that are the living entity. So a human being, by definition, is a community of 50 trillion cells. Well, once we evolved as that level of the community, the next level of organization is where we become cells in the body of a larger thing called humanity. And this is why governments are falling apart, national borders are falling apart, because this is a change where all people have to recognize we're all part of the same organism. Yeah. And that when we fight each other, it's the same as inside your body if you have what we call autoimmune disease, which is by definition self-destruction. So what we have to do is realize that the cells can't fight each other. We have to come together in a harmony of we are one humanity. And once everybody is understood of the fact that we are all part of the same community, there's a great opportunity for a wonderful evolutionary shift where the concept of war and violence could be a historical document and nothing new anymore, nothing more of that again.
Yeah. What are those? Tell us more about those, the scientific evidence of that.
Yes. When we look at evolution, we usually look at like a Darwinian evolution. We say, well, an organism was very simple here, and then through evolution and evolution and evolution, we evolved all these organisms from this little primitive one. And so we just look at evolution as one continuous unfolding process. But that is a mistaken perception as well for this reason. Evolution has start and stop points. And when it gets to the stop point, it restarts again and uses the same pattern. So the first organisms, that little primitive group that was down here at the very bottom, were bacteria. And we see bacteria as these free living little primitive cells. And it turns out our studies reveal that bacteria live in community. They communicate with each other. There's a whole web, an internet, so to speak, among all the bacterial cells, because they keep each other informed about what's going on in the world. So there's a sharing of awareness. That sharing of awareness, some of it is viruses. That's a way of communicating. That's held the cells together. But what evolution found was it couldn't make a smarter bacterium. And so to make more intelligence, what it did is it brought a whole bunch of bacteria together in a group, in a community. and put a membrane around it. And these bacteria live in a little tiny membrane, and we call that the next level of evolution, called the amoeba. The amoeba is a complex cell made out of primitive bacteria who cooperate together. So we had single cell bacteria form a community, which then becomes a single amoeba. Well, now these amoebas, which are communities of bacteria, they start evolving, and then they start to come together in communities themselves. So now we have communities of amoebas, which each amoeba is a community of bacteria. So we had a single cell and then a community. And then the community became a single cell, and then that formed a bigger community, which is us. Then we evolved, and now, okay, so we've maxed out our awareness, but how do you make more intelligence? The evolutionary pattern is always, first you create the entity, then you create the community of entities. So where are we? We are in a level of becoming aware that we are not a whole bunch of individual people as we see it. We are one thing called humanity. And when we come together in the community of humanity, that will complete this evolution on this planet. Because what the next level of evolution is, our planet becomes a cell and then hooks up with the other planets, which are other cells, and we form an intergalactic superorganism. So we're on a step-by-step thing. So the biggest jump we have to do right now is let go of the past vision of our separateness and our individuality, which is a Darwinian belief. Remember, the Darwin theory said that evolution is driven by a struggle for survival, with the survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
So in our vision, it's like, oh, the best human is the evolution of humanity. And sort of like, nature doesn't care about the best human. Nature says, what are humans as a group doing to the garden called Gaia? And so if nature was going to have a court, which it's having right now because we're going extinct, and this is a scientific reality. And why are we going extinct? Well, this is not the first time. There have been 5 times in the history before where life got wiped out essentially and then started over again.
Tell us about those.
Those are called mass extinctions. And so if you go back, you look at the fossil record, and you see, well, there's evolution, and then everything got like destroyed, and then it started over again at another level and another level, 5 times. The 5 previous extinctions have been due to things like comets or asteroids hitting the Earth, destroying the environment, and then wiping out life.
Are we including Atlantis?
Well, something happened back there as well. So again, these are the mysteries because we don't have enough data, and our vision has been really with blinders.
Yeah.
And now we're expanding our vision. So why it's important now is that a mass extinction occurs when you lose large numbers of species very, very rapidly. Well, scientists have recognized we are now in a mass extinction. We are losing species of organisms on this planet at record numbers in history that has ever been done. And this cause is a lot closer to home, this extinction, than the previous ones, which, comets, asteroids, whatever it was. This extinction, according to science, is due to human behavior. That we are undermining the garden, the biological ecosphere, that we're causing big holes in that network, and it's causing a collapse of the system. Most importantly, as we talk about this extinction, like, oh, we're going to lose the lions and all these things, it's like, yeah, and we're going to lose the humans as well. That's part of the extinction. So we have a choice. This is a choice point right now. We have been creating the extinction, and it's only through our awareness and our changing of the way we live on this planet that there's an opportunity to survive and make it through this extinction. So this is a choice point. Yeah. And this is really so cool for this reason. Evolution is going to be a participatory process. We have to participate. It's not an accident. It's not that we go home and turn on the television and fall asleep, and then we wake up in the next morning and go, oh, a whole new evolution. It's like, no. This is an evolution where we make a difference based on the way we are living in regard to the other people and regard to the ecosphere. And this is a wake-up call because science says, look, like within 30 years, think about this, I mean, it's mind-boggling. Within 30 years, the fish that we depend on in the ocean will be gone. Imagine a planet Earth with all these oceans and no big fish in it. Well, that's not a like a fantasy. That's a scientific reality, and that's 30 years. So it's like this wake-up call is coming. We have to make a response to it, and we have to change the way we live on this planet, and we have to treat each other differently, and most importantly, treat our Mother Earth quite different than the way we've been doing it. And if we don't do this, the writing's already on the wall. It's like, okay, kiss it goodbye. It's gone. And yet, I'm very optimistic.
Right, but you're saying this is actually a good thing. What's happening right now is a great news because this allows the evolution. Without this breaking point, without everything collapsing, something new is not possible. Tell us about that, because in nature we see it all the time, don't we?
Well, nature makes a plan, and when things go smoothly, it stays stable forever. And if things don't go smoothly, nature says, okay, that didn't work, and then eliminates it. So when you look over the history of life on this planet, there's species that show up, and then they disappear, and then they come back, and this applies to human civilization. So the concept of a Lemuria, the concept of Atlantis, is definitely back there. I mean, we have a very limited vision that we think, oh, humans just got here. Oh, that history is only the last 5,000 years. And it's sort of like, look, the Sphinx and the pyramids are 50,000 years old, man. There was something happening for 40,000 years to build those things that we don't even know about.
Yeah.
So the fact is we have to start awakening to who we are, what we are, and how powerful we are in creating our world. And I think this is the biggest wake-up call. It is for us to recognize we are powerful beyond our own imagination. So powerful, and yet our belief system is that we are weak and frail and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Since biology is based on belief, if you believe you're weak and frail, then that's what you become.
Yeah, because that's what you say, is that it's not dependable on our genes and our DNA. You're saying actually the memory is in the cell. We have a choice in the matter by our thoughts, our way we're thinking, and how we're behaving. There's a huge shift there that's going on, that's happening.
This is an evolutionary shift, because understand, biology is based on that. The new understanding is our perceptions of our reality control our biology. So when we perceive we're frail and weak, that's what we are. So here's what the upheaval is in science, that this is the evolutionary jump. And it goes like this. We have been programmed to believe that genes control our lives and our traits.
Yeah.
This becomes relevant because, and I say, Lilu, did you pick the genes you came with on this planet? And you go, well, I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know. I say, well, if you don't like the genes that you have and you want some different traits, can you change your traits? And the answer is no. So as far as we know, we didn't pick the genes. We can't change the genes, and then we believe the genes control who we are. Well, that means we're victims. Yeah. And we've been programmed to be victims, saying, look, your life is not in your control. It's in your genes. And I'm going to be the medical organization, and we take care of you because you can't take care of you. And so we have become victimized by our own belief that we are frail. The new science, which the old science was called genetic control, which simply means control by genes. The new science is called epigenetic control. You see, epi is three little letters. It's like, what's the difference? I say, epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, the new science is saying control above the genes. And once you start to wait, what's the control above the genes? I say, your perceptions, your beliefs, your life experiences. All of these change your biology and your genetics. And therefore, that's why if you perceive you're a victim, and since it's based on perception, you become the victim. And yet the new biology says, wait, you control your genetics by the way you respond to the world. And when we start to learn to live in harmony with the world, then our cells and our biology will live in harmony with us. And so this is the lesson, is like, our inner sicknesses are actually complements to the world that we create externally. So when we create a more harmonious world, then our biology will be more harmonious as well.
So where is the starting point? What is the choice that we have to make? What can we do on a practical level, all of us at this point in time?
Well, the first thing is to get new awareness, because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
When you have a lack of knowledge, just by definition, that means a lack of power.